Live to the extreme, exert to the extreme. Xiefeng. September 23, 2018. Feel whether you are dead. If you are not dead, there is always hope, and there is still a chance to dance a tango on the edge of death. Not long ago, a Huang and I and a Danish couple went to the Lac La Hatch Park to pick mushrooms. A Huang and I ate the mushrooms. We did not dare to share them with the guests. At about 2:30 in the middle of the night, the mushroom's toxic effects broke out. We vomited violently, felt dizzy and had diarrhea. We considered that the cost of going to the hospital was too high and we could not afford it, so we did not call an ambulance. On the one hand, we rescued ourselves, on the other hand, we were prepared for death. We forcibly drank a lot of salt water, and randomly vomited and excreted. Unexpectedly, we returned to peace at 4:30, and we did not die. I was tired and wanted to sleep, but thinking that I needed to make breakfast for the guests in the morning, I didn't sleep anymore for fear that I would have overslept. I was still alive, didn't die, I was so happy and fortunate. Compared to death, it's no big deal losing several hours of sleep. I've watched movies such as Into the White, Survival of the Jedi, Hacksaw Ridge and so on. Thinking about myself now, I am so happy. Every day there is food to fill my stomach, and there is a house to live in. I have eyes to see, legs to walk on, hands to work with, a mouth to talk with. I am so fortunate and happy. About my age? It's just over 60. That I have lived safely to the age of 60 is already a great blessing and great good fortune, thank God, thank heaven. What is the rest of my time to be used for? Wholeheartedly and selflessly for the benefit of this world. Live to the extreme, exert to the extreme. Since I didn't die, then I should make breakfast for the guests. The soldiers trained by the American West Point Military Academy are brave and good at fighting. It is said that the West Point Military Academy has a famous BEAST program, which is a series of cruel training exercises of human nature, physiology, psychology, and intelligence. 1/5 of the students who have undergone rigorous selection cannot stand the training of wild beasts, and are eliminated. Those who can persist are the best among the soldiers because they bring human nature to the extreme. Looking back, have I lived to the extreme? Did I live out my value? I am ashamed to say that I did not. I have wasted a lot of precious time. I have been living in a situation of having adequate food and clothing without any great tribulation. My daily time is not fully used for learning, thinking, exploring, studying, struggling, and experiencing. I checked my life accounts and found that before the age of 35, I spent my life being muddle-headed without any achievements. Although at the age of 18, I served as the party branch secretary of the village production brigade and managed the affairs of 11 villages for 3 years, it was basically mediocre. There are no highlights to show off. At the age of 36, my life started to have a little bit of color. I was then working as an interpreter for a project in Zimbabwe, Africa. It was worth mentioning that for more than a year, there were no holidays, no weekends, and I worked more than 10 hours every day. The most exciting time there was one night when there was no moonlight, only starlight. I drove a dilapidated Jeep, the lights didn't work, none of the big or small lights were working, the drive shaft of the car could have easily fallen off, the car did not have a roof, and the steering wheel had excessive free play. Once the car broke down, it couldn't be started again, unless pushed by people or dragged by other vehicles. Therefore, once it was started, I had to make sure it wouldn't stall. Under this kind of night and vehicle conditions, I drove more than 80 kilometers in the African jungle and on the highway. Thinking about it later, it was very thrilling. It was risking with my life. It also belongs to the BEAST training of the West Point Military Academy. I started my own business, opening a company, at the age of 38. My busiest time was when I had 4 shops, a nightclub, a bar, and a fast food restaurant. I would sleep no more than 5 hours a day. To save time, I limited my mealtime to 10 minutes. In general, I finished a meal in 5 or 6 minutes, to deal with an average of 9 things every day. But I think that I haven't exerted my life to its limit. I should have done more. The more than 10 years of establishing the theoretical system of Lifechanyuan can be regarded as hard work. At least every day, I worked hard. The Chanyuan corpus and Xiefeng corpus with thousands of articles and tens of millions of words were written by me day and night without wasting any time. But this cannot be considered as living to the extreme, because I just make the best of my time, sleep less, and entertain less. I have no worry about food, clothing, shelter, transportation, life, old age, sickness, and death. There is no suffering, no hardship, and it can't be said that it is wonderful. The 10 years of creating the new oasis for life, the second home, with Chanyuan celestials have been 10 years of enjoyment. Although a new mode of production and life has been created and a bright road has been initiated for mankind, all these have been done in playing and entertainment. There is no suffering, no tiredness, no pain, no great hardship, and it cannot be counted as having lived to the extreme of human nature. If there is something that we can show off, it is the 9 picturesque and Xanadu-like homes that we have created, which were then destroyed because of the government's incomprehension, misunderstanding and misinterpretation. We were driven out of the homes, our 26 million funds disappeared in smoke. We, 150 people, had no houses to live in, no food to eat, and most of our daily supplies were gone. We went on the road of vagrancy. There was nothing left. In this case, we did not complain about the heaven, the earth, the government, nor did we petition, raise banners, whine, protest, march, rebel, or do anything to harm others, society, or nature. We did not sink into negative and pessimistic emotions. We licked our wounds and not only survived miraculously, but also lived very happily. In this regard, we lived out our natural and unrestrained lives, and lived to the extreme. How could we do this? Because we are grass, Chanyuan celestials are grass. Boundless grasses across the plain come and go with every season, wildfires never quite consume them, they are tall once more in the spring wind. In fact, even if the spring wind does not blow, even if the wind is cold, the grass won't die, because the grass will live to its extreme, will exert itself to the extreme. Only those who have gone through hardships alive, still struggling for a better future, are qualified to talk about life, ideals, to discuss scriptures and Tao. Only those with a strong heart are qualified to talk about life, ideals, and to discuss scriptures and Tao. Only those who have lost all material security, but still love life, and love nature, are qualified to lead mankind to a better era. Only those who serve the people wholeheartedly, can tolerate everything, and possess universal values are qualified to lead humankind to a better life. Even if the entire group is annihilated, as long as there is one person, as long as he is a Chanyuan celestial, he will still hold the banner of the new era and guide mankind towards the peak of life and life without hesitation, without retreat. To enter the Xiefeng-style communist society, globally, every Chanyuan celestial himself is a light that will shine, will live to the extreme, will exert to the extreme.